You know, when I grew up with Captain Planet and a lot of other American nonsense, there was a heavy emphasis on make peace, not war, hit the bed and not the floor. That was something that the left was pushing. They even had like the symbol of peace and the hippie movement and all of that, right? And in order to be a leftist, you had to advocate for peace. In fact, there were many actors and Miss Universes that would go out and they would say, "Oh, I want to end world hunger. I want to bring about world peace." This was the talking point of the left. And nowadays, you notice a complete switch in the paradigm. You see that the right wingers, through the MAGA movement, they're in favor of peace. It's not that they wouldn't support a country over other in a conflict, but they're basically saying, why does America have to get involved? Right? Like, why does America have to go in the Middle East and get involved? Why does America have to go in Eastern Europe and get involved? It's not necessarily that they have like a fundamental understanding of the American empire and its geopolitics. It's more like ideologically, they just want America to go home, right? So when you see Candace Owens hold this opinion, it is completely in line with the MAGA movement. Like it's completely in character with who she was 5 years ago. It's not something new, right? But there are other elements on the right wing who disagree with this. One of them being Ben Shapiro. Now Ben Shapiro, of course, being more sympathetic to Israel, he does want American intervention. He does want America to become the world police. So you have these clash of personalities. That now normally in my country this wouldn't be a problem. Believe it or not, there are publications which I have like journalists of different opinions because at the end of the day, this is good for business. You as a publication that is presenting news, you want to be inclusive. So you would have like some journalists that have left-wing talking points and you'd have some journalists that have right-wing talking points. Eventually you would do debates and you'd have them talk to each other because the purpose is to drive ratings. The purpose is to make money from the advertisement, right? But when you look at the American press, the purpose is to indoctrinate, and it's all press. Okay, it's not just like left wing or right wing. No, it's most corporate press. They prefer to indoctrinate and control what the audience thinks rather than make money. And this is the problem because you can't have two people with different opinions coexisting. You cannot have like a journalist that disagrees with another journalist under the same umbrella. And this is pretty much what has happened here. Now, to be fair, she was kept around for much longer than I expected, but it's also possible that she had contracts with the Daily Wire that couldn't have been rescinded without her getting some severance package. So maybe they had to wait until they could fire her, or maybe they were under negotiations. But suffice to say is that she's gone. So what exactly did she do in order to piss off Ben Shapiro? Well, one of the first things that she did, and this was absolutely unacceptable, was to quote the Bible. Right, so just a random quote from the Bible. She didn't give any names. She didn't say what it's about. But it was sufficient enough for Ben to activate. So her quote was that you cannot serve two masters, basically implying that you cannot serve God and money, which basically means that she has principles, and her principles are more important than what her employer is paying her. This is kind of it. And of course, immediately Ben Shapiro got upset and said, hey, if you don't like it, you can always quit. No one is forcing you to serve. You know, like that. That was the first initial controversy. But the second one was that during an infighting, it reached its final stage when Owens liked a social media post asking conservative Rabbi Shmuel Buttigieg whether he is drunk on Christian blood again. Now again, in a normal civilized country, which America used to be back in the 90s, if you're offending someone, the other person should just offend you back, right? So like, if you're being anti-Semitic, then the other person could be either racist or misogynistic towards you. This is also how people interact normally in their day-to-day life, even though we like to pretend that we don't, right? Like someone insults you, you insult them back, and that's pretty much it. But this is modern America that we're talking about, where everyone is forced to be nice. And when you are forced to be nice, no one is actually nice, because niceness has some level of genuineness to it, right? So like if you're not genuinely nice and you're just forced to be nice, you're forced to smile, you create this fake corporate plastic environment where most people are unhappy, they find it awful. And but my point is, right, like if you look at Japanese anime like Konosuba, I'll make a small parenthesis, you have like 3 characters that are just completely awful to one another, but the reality is they're actually friends. And by being awful is this normal human interaction that exists. But again, like we're not allowed to have this normal human interactions anymore. Like everyone just has to be nice. No one is allowed to be offensive. No one is allowed to be critical. So, you know, I guess this is the reason that she got fired for liking a tweet. I mean, this is the absolute state of pearl clutching, right? It's like you're not allowed to like, oh, but that tweet was hot. She just clicked the button, you know, like she just clicked the button. But again, like if she hadn't clicked the button, then she would be a moral and uprighteous person, great journalist, fit for the Daily Wire. But because she has clicked the button, then obviously she's an incapable journalist. She can't write good pieces. She can't get people to listen to what she has to say. This is the mentality that I really despise, and it's coming from the left, and you get to see the right using it, and that mentality is pretty much like you don't hire people for their skills anymore. You just hire people based on their correct opinions. Like it doesn't matter if they're good journalists or not. What do they think? What Twitter posts do they like? Do they ever offend someone that shouldn't be offended? You know, because if she offended a leftist, oh, that would be fine. But like she offended someone of significance, so she's not fine. I really dislike, again, like it's difficult to explain to Americans that there is a different way of life. Like there is an alternative to this. If you were to come to Eastern Europe and you would see how things work here, you know, we do not have the American economy, sure, and we do not have the same standard of living, but people are more happy. People are more relaxed. Like this idea that you can like a Twitter post and your career is over is beyond ridiculous. And even Americans would have found it beyond ridiculous 10 years ago. But now it would be beyond ridiculous if she didn't get fired. Right? Like the culture has shifted to such a dramatic degree that if she wouldn't get fired for this, then that would be the problem, right? And again, like getting fired, like any type of job that she had, right? Like if you like that type of tweet, whether she would be a world-renowned doctor, a Nobel Prize winner, best mathematician, all of these things, like no, you need to terminate her because she had the idea of clicking a tweet. But the thing is, like you get a competency crisis when you behave like this. Like when you just start hiring people and you give jobs as prizes and awards, not for the quality of the work, but instead for the opinions and thoughts, then you're going to end up with the competency crisis. But regarding Candace Owens, I think she would be fine without the Daily Wire. Like the Daily Wire needed her, not vice versa, because we're going to see as she starts a YouTube channel or whatever, she's going to have an audience, right? Because again, like the problem wasn't that her thought pieces or her editorials were bad. No, they still attracted millions of views, and I do not expect that her career is going to go downhill due to this. But anyway, I guess the feud is going to come to an end. Interestingly enough, that Cenk Uygur manages to keep Anna Kasparian longer than the Daily Wire managed to keep Candace Owens. Wouldn't it be interesting, though, if Anna Kasparian and Candace Owens start the podcast? Holy shit, can you imagine? No, seriously, can you imagine? Would you watch it? I would fucking watch it. Imagine on YouTube, Candace Owens and Anna Kasparian having a talk show. My God. Let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.